dedicated to southern and eastern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. The first of what county officials say are many road projects and repairs in Knott County began today. WYMT's Chas Jenkins talked with county officials on the plans moving forward.
Crews are hard at work repairing a break on Kentucky 1098 in the Leeburn community. One of many planned road projects beginning in the coming months after severe weather left substantial damage in its wake.
It all relates back to the excessive amount of rainfall that we've had throughout the winter months, and snowfall, freezing, thawing. We've got roads broke out all over the county.
It is all made possible with a little help, the county receiving funds from the state and FEMA. Now they are using that funding to make sure people in Knott County can drive safely, first focusing on the roads that need the most help.
This one here, half the road was gone, and I know there's others the same way, but those are the ones that we're taking action on first. You know, this here being a state project, but like I said, we're happy to see some construction being done.
Repairs on Kentucky 1098 slated to be completed in the next few days.
We'll have to do a double drill, a roll on the inside, roll on the outside to actually hold the road in place. So. It's probably a 2 to 3 day project, and we'll be thankful to get it completed.
Even with this progress, some are worried about the possibility of more bad weather coming in.
One day it'll be 65 degrees, the next day it's 25 degrees, and 50, 60 mile an hour winds. That's just been a killer, and hey, you know, we're blessed.
However, no matter what, county officials say repairs will always be done.
There's nothing you can really do to stop it. But when it occurs, you know, we just have to take fast action and try to get to work on it as soon as possible.
Working hard to bringing these roads back to their former glory. In Knott County, Chas Jenkins, WYMT Mountain News.
Dobson says he is happy with the crews chosen for the job. Drivers are asked to use alternative routes such as Kentucky 2029 and Laurel Fork Road during construction on Kentucky 1098.
Well, some of us still seeing some clouds out there at the moment. However, some of us starting to see some sunshine return out there right now. UVA WISE camera showing us, well, all is overcast there at the moment. But we've got some changes on the way, slowly but surely, heading through the mountains right now. Studio camera here at WYMT. We're starting to see that sunshine work back in. The blue sky in the distance. Looking pretty nice outside as we finally get a little bit of sunshine. It's going to boost those temperatures a couple degrees before the sun sets, though most of us remain in the low to middle 30s around the mountains at this hour, and we're only getting colder as we head into tonight. You can thank those clouds finally pushing on out. We've spent most of our day with them, but they're finally saying goodbye as we head into our Friday night. That cold air, though, that's going to be a consequence of those clouds moving out. We're going to be able to get warmer air that we've had throughout the day to escape out into space. Keep that WYMT weather app handy, though. We're going to be in the 30s as we head through the evening hours and finally into the upper 20s, even some mid-20s in some spots as we head through tonight. I'll have the latest on when we could finally see some warmer temperatures return to the mountains coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. Lawmakers in Frankfort are discussing bills that would end pandemic restrictions and a measure to end Kentucky's state of emergency for the pandemic. Senator Donald Douglas introduced Senate Joint Resolution 150 this morning, saying that 2 years of Kentucky's pandemic state of emergency is too much, and it's taken a toll on everyone, especially children.
Afraid to go outside, they're afraid to take off their masks, they're afraid to even interact with each other. They had friends. They no longer have friends. They have people that they talk to.
One senator responded to that joint resolution, saying that Kentucky's positivity rate, while falling, is still at more than 14%, and less than 60% of Kentuckians are fully vaccinated at this point. If the resolution is adopted, then the final day of the pandemic state of emergency would be March 7th. While numbers appear to be going down, one factor of the pandemic remains: its huge impact on healthcare workers. Nearly 3,600 of them have died of COVID in the U.S. One study found that 41% of healthcare workers are considering leaving the profession for good. CBS's Chris Van Cleve traveled to Moorhead to see the struggle that our healthcare workers face every day.
Across rural Kentucky, life largely has gone back to normal. But the battle against the pandemic still rages inside healthcare facilities, even in tiny Owingsville, about 50 miles east of Lexington.
The only thing that is semi-comparable and not even close is like a battlefield, and we've been fighting now for 2 years.
Dr. Aaron Parker Banks is the only doctor on that COVID battlefield at this family clinic. He sees about 40 patients a day, a third due to COVID. What do you think about at night when you're finally able to stop working?
Whenever I'm at home, I try not to talk about what all's going on. At any moment, if I start thinking about it, I cry. There's 35 individuals in Bath County who are no longer here.
Some of those 35 people were folks that were close to you, I understand.
Yeah. I've had friends, I've had family members. One of my mentors growing up, who was like a mom to me, she lost her battle.
20 miles east in Moorhead, the patients in this COVID surge unit are sick, and in some cases could be in an ICU, except the ICU is full of even sicker patients. It's been all hands on deck for 2 years. The toll on healthcare workers means there are now fewer hands to help lift the load. How hard is it to replace the nurses that have left?
Well, you can't replace experience, so you have to rebuild. Every nurse is a critical frontline provider.
Nurse Courtney Hollingsworth says balancing burnout is now just part of the job.
We have to just keep waking up each day and remembering why we do what we do to make a difference.
A difference she's determined to keep making. With so many people leaving healthcare, does it make you worry about the future?
Oh, I'm scared to death of the future. You know, before COVID started, we needed more people to go into healthcare. There wasn't enough, but it is so scary.
What's scary about it?
That there won't be enough of us to be able to take care of the needs of the patients.
And there is still so much need. Across the Commonwealth of Kentucky, 87% of ICU beds are full. At this hospital, about a quarter of the patients are COVID positive. Last fall, a survey of Kentucky nurses found about 25%, 1 in 4, was thinking about quitting their job within 3 months. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Moorhead, Kentucky.
New research finds most COVID-19 hospitalizations now cost a patient around $4,000 on average. They say it's due to measures protecting patients hospitalized with COVID-19 from financial liability being rolled back by most U.S. insurers. Between March 2020 and January 2021, less than 9% of patients with private health care insurance had any costs associated with COVID hospitalization. By March 2021, that jumped to 84%. The University of Michigan and Boston University study was published in JAMA Network Open. New research shows ivermectin does not appear to be a strong tool in the fight against COVID. A study published Friday in JAMA Internal Medicine says their findings are based on close to 500 patients who were at least 50 years old and at severe risk of the virus. During a 5-day trial, half were given ivermectin and the other half a placebo. Researchers say the differences between the two sets were negligible. 2 previously randomized controlled ivermectin trials from Argentina and Colombia found the same result. People with diabetes will soon have a new tool to help them with their insulin shots. The Food and Drug Administration has approved the first app that lets users schedule and deliver doses of insulin. The company Tandem Diabetes Care says the app connects to a special insulin pump that gives needed doses of bolus insulin, which stops glucose spikes after meals. The app with this new feature will be available for free through a software update. The company, however, did not say when the feature will launch. The IRS says paper processing and the pandemic are crippling the agency, which could impact your tax return. Officials with the organization now say they are making moves to address a massive backlog, including the launch of multiple surge teams, essentially redirecting employees into positions with the most need. Another problem is outdated equipment slowing down operations. In order to modernize, the IRS says it needs more funding, something Congress likely won't agree on.
There's a real challenge for the IRS having the resources to collect our taxes.
We gave out $3.1 billion last year, and I'd like to know how much of that money isn't spent before I'd consider spending more money.
The IRS is also struggling to communicate with taxpayers. At a Senate Finance Committee hearing, officials testified the IRS toll-free line only answered 11% of calls it received last year. A New York State trooper files a lawsuit against former Governor Andrew Cuomo, saying he touched her inappropriately. The unnamed trooper was part of the former governor's protective detail. She's also suing the New York State Police and Melissa DeRosa, a former secretary to Cuomo. The trooper says in 2019, Cuomo, quote, placed the palm of his hand on her belly button and slid it across her waist to her right hip. She also accuses him of repeatedly asking her for a kiss and kissing her on the cheek, and says a state police supervisor told her not to tell anyone. Cuomo has denied any wrongdoing. Reports of sexual assault are increasing sharply at American military academies. In the last academic year, 161 reports of sexual assaults were filed at the U.S. Military Academy West Point, the U.S. Naval Academy, and the U.S. Air Force Academy. That's a 150% increase over the 129 reports the previous year. The Department of Defense says it's unclear what has led to the increase. It could be more crimes actually took place, or people felt more comfortable reporting them. Of the 161 sexual assaults reported, 131 of them allegedly took place during active military service. The ex-police officer who killed a 20-year-old black man in suburban Minneapolis last April was sentenced today to significantly less than the maximum. Kim Potter shot and killed Dante Wright as he tried to run from her during a traffic stop in April. She claims she meant to fire her taser, not her gun. Wright's family had asked for the maximum sentence allowed, but the judge sentenced Potter to 2 years in prison.
Kimberly Potter was trying to do the right thing. Officer Potter made a mistake that ended tragically. She never intended to hurt anyone.
Potter was convicted in December of both first-degree and second-degree manslaughter in Wright's death. Minnesota's state guidelines on the manslaughter charge ranged from about 6 years to 8.5 years in prison for someone with no criminal history. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, several world leaders are pushing for diplomacy as the world awaits Russia's next move amid growing tensions with Ukraine.
And we've got even colder air on the way for later tonight. I'll have the latest breakdown on the way next.
WYMT News app.